Hey, dude.
Oh, nope, done.
Who am I kidding, guys? He's gone.
Dylan,
Crying
I think the
noises.
fake crying is worse, actually.
Oh my gosh. Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we
So
take animation seriously, yada, yada, yada. I'm Dylan, joined by Delaney. Hi, Delaney.
hi, Dylan.
And
Or maybe.
April.
hi, Dylan.
Can we can we even go on
I don't
on
think you
such an
can.
occasion?
Uh,
Uh,
um,
we'll see if I can
do you want me
power
to
through
host this,
this.
Dylan?
Dylan's just like weeping, like in the background. While
Why are
Hold on,
you
I
less
got this.
broken up about this, April? This affects us
Look,
all equally.
I have a level of professionalism, and
wow!
Look,
Wow!
it hit this hit my one weak spot, Luka. You know.
I'm just teasing.
And you just stabbed it like as hard as you could.
Not as hard as the episode stabbed my heart and Thomas did, you know. Not
I
it could not be
If
worse.
Thomas had it out for you, he
I
was
think
like,
so. I think this was
I'm
targeted.
gonna make Dylan suffer.
I do think this was specifically targeted at Dylan. Yes.
Oh my god.
Yes.
I mean, he replied right away. He didn't say anything specific, but
Oh, I didn't
he's-
see.
I
Oh.
tweeted him, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, nothing revolutionary, but yeah. So yeah, we're the Ladybug. We're talking the episodes Perfection, Migration, and Derision. Episodes 12, 13, 14. I think I didn't write that down. And on the Ladybug podcast, including the big Luka episode, Migration, totally the headline and not Derision, not at all.
Definitely not Derision.
But we will talk everything from these three episodes. Check out our
Okay,
previous
Dylan
Lady.
really like buried the lead. This tweet is hilarious.
It was not recent. I mean, you could have seen
What?
it before. I
So
think we
Dylan-
probably all have Thomas muted. I think that's probably why.
Oh,
we didn't see
I
it.
do. So
Because of
Dylan
spoilers.
tweeted at Thomas, "I'll never forgive you about the ending of Migration," and then Thomas replied, because he's a troll, "Good, because it means you'll never forget it." Smiley face.
Which is, I feel like that's like a canned Thomas response. I don't know if he understood, but I was joking, Thomas, in case you're unaware. But also not
Regardless,
joking.
it's hilarious. So
I love it. You should print it out and frame it.
Sure.
Please.
I think the
That's the
Thomas
best.
tweet we're framing is the one when he tweeted the link to the Sentimonster podcast initially. I'll never forget that one. Yeah. Okay. A spoiler warning. So we're talking spoilers up until Derision in season 5, but not beyond. We are going by the Disney US English dub releases. Spoilers only up to the episodes we're covering in this podcast, not beyond chronologically. Please, absolutely no spoilers past where the Disney US dub is. Anywhere in the comments or anywhere you would interact with the podcast, we are not spoiled for the most part. At least I'm not. Please do not spoil us. I understand that certain networks in certain countries will be proceeding very far into the season soon, so I continue to appreciate you're not spoiling us on the end of season 5. Please do not. Thank you. But you
Thank
guys
you,
have been really good
friends.
about that so far. So thank you very much. But we are getting into it here. There will be a break after this in the Disney US, but we're halfway up to the season now. It's very exciting, and we have Perfection, Migration, and Derision to talk about. We'll go through these 3 very different episodes, I believe, but one's all in the same arc of Marinette can't talk even though they're in love. I guess that's the right. This is what we're doing here.
what a weird problem.
I guess we should have seen
new.
it coming. Considering the pain of the stuttering, but I don't think any of us predicted this would be a major hang up in season 5. But let's talk about that. Did I miss anything in the intro? I'm still
I don't
sad,
think
by the way.
so.
Don't worry about it. Delaney, what are your thoughts on these episodes?
They were all really good, and So Migration and Derision were physically painful to watch.
I know. I was in
Perfection.
so much pain at the end of Migration as well.
I was just so shook. Except the problem is Migration, it might be the best episode ever. Like, that's the problem with Migration.
Oh.
So it's really tragic, but like the gag in the middle of Migration is so good that it might just catapult the episode to like the best episode ever. And then Perfection, the whole time I was just like, the problem is also the end of Perfection also has like one of the greatest things ever. So there's a lot of good stuff in these episodes. And then personally, I was very affected by Derision as someone who was severely bullied growing up, and then also someone asked me out as a joke when I was younger than Marinette. So it was pretty rough.
Yeah. I'm sure we're going to get into much trauma discussion, but if we don't want to, doesn't need to be too heavy.
By Ladybug.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean,
like,
very rich of this show to comment on trauma, considering the trauma it has inflicted. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good. Well, so yeah, I mean, we'll see how heavy we get in the Derision discussion, but as much as you guys want to. But April,
that's the bulk of it for me. Though I was afraid it was going to get really bad, but it was also like Kim is so stupid, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. April, what did you think of the episodes?
I liked how they all kind of tied in together.
Yeah.
Because like the biggest besides like the whole Kagami thing and like being friends with Marinette, or no, that's Migration. No, that's that one. Just kidding.
Look, they all blur together. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, well, because they all like take place on the boat, I feel like, except I guess Derision. I don't know. They deal with water. But
they deal with water.
There is water.
But I liked how like we set up this theme of like imperfection of like Marinette can't talk to Adrian and she can't tell him that she loves him and we don't understand why. And then like we like sort of explore that idea as we continue forward. Like Migration sort of explores like the whole like her being Ladybug aspect of it, which isn't what's holding her back. And then we get into Derision. And that one was a loaded episode, and we figure out why. Also, I guess we're bringing Chloe back, so that's a thing. But it was nice seeing everyone with different hairstyles, except Chloe.
Yeah, it's a lot of long hair Marinette. Yeah, and that was glad we'll talk about Chloe. I think for the first time we have some substantial Chloe things to talk about. Good stuff on how they tie together too. I agree. Yeah, I think these are all good episodes. By the way, I do not like the title scheme this season officially, considering I don't think you can tell these episodes apart with these titles.
You don't like the Ian at the end of them all?
It's the power of blank, but the power in none of the power of these 3 episodes do not matter. I feel like.
Yes.
But the alternative was the villain name. Not like that particularly mattered either. So it's whatever. That's fine.
I forgot the villain names.
Yeah.
I'm mostly mad that like I still don't know which Miraculous is Derision.
Yeah, the problem is I don't think of the Miraculous as by the power of Derision. It's
whatever cute little animal it is.
Zupu.
Duh.
Yeah, that's the. So I don't know. I don't think they're particularly distinctive, but good episodes. Perfection, I think, has. Delaney said the overboard gag in Migration. I think for me, the Perfection with the "I love Moo" is one of the most iconic gags of the show.
I love you.
I was gonna say I love Moo all at the start of the podcast, but I was too sad to say it. Yeah, I love you guys.
That would have been good.
Yeah,
I like the picture of the cow that they used. Like they could have just used any picture, but the cow had like a dumb face or something.
Yeah, they presumably they drew it, but yeah, it was a good. Marinette printed it out. I don't know if someone Marinette's age would have a printer, but I guess she's a designer, so maybe. Anyway, yeah, I love Moo is amazing. The concerts, I love the first half of that. I think the Kagami stuff is also good, but I didn't love it quite as much as all the ridiculousness with Marinette in the first half of that episode. The end credit scene is notable. We'll talk about that. Migration. Well, look, my experience this episode, 5 minutes in, uh, I'm texting
Oh, the
Sarah like
first 5 minutes were unbearable.
this is the greatest episode of all time. That was my reaction 5 minutes in. Like
No.
I was so happy. I was on such a high from the Luka therapy talks. And then by the end, it was the worst episode of all time. Like, how could they do this to me?
I remember I like watched the first like 2 minutes of it, and I was like, Dylan, I'm done.
Look,
and then I couldn't watch it until like 3 days later.
You were living in an amazing world for 3 days where the ending did not happen of this episode.
It was beautiful.
But this is what April's been asking for a long time, right? Like Luka knowing that coming into play.
No, when the first like flash happened, I was like, I can feel April's like presence.
Yes.
Yeah. I thought they handled it amazing in this episode, and it plays out great. We'll talk about them writing Luka out. I'm very sad, obviously. Was it a good decision? I think the show's a tendency to write characters out. Clearly, it's happened twice this season. When they're annoying
I just love that like it didn't occur to Hawkmoth.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that too. I don't think he'll ever find him outside of Paris. I don't think he will. The only thing I didn't like in Migration was the Bob Roth stuff. The gag was great, but Bob Roth's just so annoying. There's a ton of him. Other than that, I think this is a really good episode. Probably one of the best of the season. The scene of Luka telling Marinette when she's Ladybug is amazing. So
I loved that.
And he's like, "You're not listening."
Yeah. Like, and then she has like that moment, and it just like she's like, "Wait, what did you call me?" And even like he had
the music, it's so good.
Yes, and the moment that he had with like Adrian, and he's like, "I know Cat Noir will save them." Like,
yeah, that was good. Yeah,
that was really good too.
I think this is the best Luka episode of the show, Migration. Not in terms of overall episode quality. I think
he's leaving.
No. I think we have the most best Luka. And my conclusion from Migration, Luka is the most perfect human being who's ever lived. I don't know how you can dispute that after this episode.
I mean, it's true. He's also. Did we decide we can say this on the podcast?
Say what?
Say what?
The C word.
I mean, I said it once, but there is more.
We have said it
being a bleep with Marinette for sure. Yes.
Yes.
Not like not the bad C word. Don't worry, kids. Not that one.
Not the bad one.
Not the bad one.
Not the bad one.
Apparently in Europe, it's not as bad of a word, I've heard, but so I don't know if that makes sense.
I feel like that's most words in Europe.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Well, Australia says the C word like it's like going out of style.
Yeah. Okay. We're talking about cuck still, right? No, just
kidding. Yes.
Anyway, that word. We'll go about that. Derision. Okay. This is a tough one. So the first time I watched, I was pretty overwhelmed. I really tried to take my time with this on the outline second watch and try to really consider it. Ultimately I do really like the episode and think it's really good. The problem is it's a lot. Like,
yeah.
I think this is the most a lot episode of Ladybug of all time. Like, this is between this being about Marinette's trauma and amazing intense amounts of Chloe's bullying, and there's a political commentary of like you can't even speak your mind these days, conservatives, right? Via what we're doing with Cam.
I think this episode needs a trigger warning.
This is the most definitely the most triggering episode of Ladybug, right? Like it's
Yes.
It's a lot. So I think it's distractingly a lot, and it's probably too heavy and such. I will say it's very blunt. Very blunt, this episode.
Oh, Ladybug I knew immediately that Marinette was having panic attacks, from the get-go.
And then...
Favorite is how uncreative Monarch is. He's like, panic! Like, you were the most useless supervillain.
Yeah, panic attacks. You're panic. So I think the bluntness, Ladybug tends to be very blunt. It is what it is. I think half of it in this episode is successful, and the other half is like, So that's probably the weakest part of the episode, but it's really good. This last scene with Marinette and Adrian before the credit scene with Adrian and Chloe. But the Marinette and Adrian at the end is beautiful, this scene. Oh my goodness. I did not even comprehend it the first time because it's overwhelming how much there is in this episode. But I do think you have like an all-time great romance scene between Marinette and Adrian at the end of this episode. Um, so I really like this episode. It's hard to, I think, objectively talk about it, but I do think this is maybe one of the better Ladybug episodes if you can look past how hard it is to watch, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know if either of you feel similarly or differently.
I mean,
I love this episode. It was so good.
Yeah. As triggering as it was.
Okay. Yeah, we'll dig into it too for Derision. So I do think we're gonna probably I want to make sure to talk about Derision for the most part, but we can overall like Marinette, Adrian, Adrinette's the big topic as always now with the show.
You're so cute.
They're officially dating, and it's adorable.
Okay, when are they officially dating?
At least by Derision.
Right. So is this their first official date is to the pool?
I would guess.
Yeah, I think that's something her mom says.
Yeah.
You got other people commenting on it, yeah.
Because her mom even says something like, "Oh, you don't want to keep your Adrian waiting." Like,
wow.
Yeah, she's like your first date with Adrian, or like she said something to like that.
Yeah, to that effect.
To that extent.
Yeah.
So by the way, her mom is like the best.
Always.
Yeah, as always. I remembered her mom because I was going to say I think Derision is the most political Ladybug episode alongside Chilin. Speaking of her mom, so yes. that's another thing. Adrian calls Marinette to wake her up.
Good call. So Dylan has to do that to me, so I'm not late to podcast.
At 7 p.m. when we're recording this, I had to wake you up. Yeah.
Dylan's actually had to do that before.
Yeah. What are you? Marinette takes Adrian's hands and they walk into the pool holding hands.
Mm-hmm.
So cute.
It's adorable.
And then it goes downhill from there. But they were holding hands for a second.
I mean, she was already having a panic attack before she went to the pool.
Yeah, she gets it together for a minute, though.
She does. She tries.
And then they have their scene at the which we'll talk about. So other things in the episodes, and obviously Derision is about, we see why Marinette is afraid of being hurt when we see the extent of Chloe's bullying before the show started and the incident with Kim, which I don't think we had any idea about, at least not that I remember.
I don't know. I felt like they have said something before. Not outright
it's
said
possible
it,
they alluded
but
to something,
yeah. Or at least they've alluded to the fact that Chloe's been a hardcore bully to Marinette specifically, which we always were given the impression that Chloe was a bully, but not to the extent that she is for Marinette.
Yeah, I don't think we're surprised that Chloe was bullying Marinette in the flashback. I think the extent to which was shocking.
Yes, I was really it wasn't a surprise that she was bullying her.
Yeah, I don't know if we'd heard about Kim before. That I'm not sure, but
no, we have not heard about Kim before, and I was upset.
I was shook. I was like,
Marinette, you're better than this.
I feel like before this episode, Kim is a sweetie, isn't it? What? That's a fine crush for younger Marinette to have.
I don't know, because I remember him being a butthead in the one episode with the girl with the pink hair.
Ondine. Yeah, I don't remember. Yes. I was kind of shocked at how much of a butthead, as you say, he was in this episode. I don't really remember him being that bad, but it's not like I frequently try to remember.
It's not Kim. I was we're not obsessed with Kim in any way.
Yeah, so it's possible I have the Kim timeline wrong. But anyway, so we talked about these episodes, Marinette can't say she loves Adrian or properly communicate with. I think I can't say I love you is shorthand for can't communicate with him in a romantic sense, I guess, while they know they like each other. But they know they like each other. Marinette can't say it. And in Derision, we have a dig into why that is, as April said, not being a ladybug like in Migration. It has to do with her past trauma. Delaney, did you see this coming at all in terms of us digging into the reason why? What do you think of it? And also in general, like where we're at with the show with them, like Marinette not being able to say it, but they're basically together.
No, I mean it's kind of shocking. I mean, I think it's like I think it's a good way to go with it, especially because like it's not like Marinette being the way she is just going to go away overnight. I think this was an interesting place to take it, and I think it makes a lot of sense, and I think it works really well in the episode. And also, it's a good reminder that they're like literal children.
Yeah, April, what about you?
I agree. I mean, it's kind of. I mean, we've always just attributed it to Marinette being Marinette, but I guess I mean it makes her like a more well-rounded character to have this sort of like small backstory, and we get we understand like why she's been the way she's been with Adrian, and then we get that even further as to like why it's so hard for her now to be with Adrian, because I mean trauma stays with you, and hers was like, and her incident was only like a year prior. Like, man, you don't get over that overnight, much less in a year. Like, it sticks with you. And so
also, it's not just the previous year. Like, she says something to her mom, like she's been in that Chloe's been in her class for the past 3 years.
Yeah, and she's like, and her mom's so hopeful.
I'd have been like transfer schools.
Yeah, right. Like how would like that, not to like make it sound mean, but like how had she not been suspended because of Chloe yet? Or not suspended, but like expelled? I know school words.
Good job.
Chloe deans to keep her around to have a target there. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah. I think like I love that we do a flashback to before Adrian gets there, that before the show, and I guess before Alia gets there as well.
Yeah, because we didn't have Alia in Derision,
which I didn't really remember, but I guess Alia isn't newer along with Adrian, but that wasn't top of my mind. I love the idea of doing a flashback like this, and I love the idea of adding depth to like Marinette's stuttering up to now, where we are with her like not be having trouble communicating to this extent. The only thing is I wish it was seeded into the season a little bit more. It felt very shocking. Like when this episode comes up, it's like, whoa, we're just getting into Marinette's trauma. I had no idea, right? Like I had, and I think it's on purpose. Like I think it's supposed to be like, oh, you didn't consider this, huh? Like, and that kind of is how it is with other people too, right? Like, and I think it's kind of effective. You're normally interacting with them on a day-to-day basis, and you don't really get to dig into their past like this.
Yeah, and it really gives you like that same shock.
What was that, Delaney?
Why would you want to talk about it? Like,
yeah, right. I mean,
true.
although it's I think Marinette should have talked about it with therapist Luka. I think that would have been a.
You're right. You're right.
with her designated therapist Luka. Yeah.
Well, and I think the other thing that's interesting about it too is that even though like we're living in this flashback, and it's like being told like from Marinette's perspective, but we're also getting because Kim's the one telling the story. Yeah. And so we get both sides, almost kind of, not really, but we get like the full spectrum of the story versus just like Marinette's side and interpretation of it, which, I mean, not like it justifies Kim's actions in any way, shape, or Chloe's for that matter, but like just knowing where all of it came from versus just like, like Marinette's like traumatic side or portion of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's an interesting point. No, the show definitely sets it up in an interesting kind of weird way where we get Marinette looking into her past to try to determine what's going on as she is akumatized, by the way. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, Kim tells the story at the pool. So I think we have both. I think their intent is for us to have both Marinette and Kim's perspectives in play at the same time. But basically they're just not worried about only honing on Marinette's past. And that's an interesting point by April, that like it's not just trauma lens from Marinette, right? We are kind of getting a objective in quotes take on it as well. Like we're seeing other sides to it. So I think that's kind of an interesting way that they chose to go about telling the story. But in terms of the show, this is the last point. Like I think Ladybug, like Ladybug is it lives on the extremes, I think, and it's not particularly subtle. So it is what it is, but I think this is one instance where we could have used some subtlety of them working this in before this episode, so it isn't just such a big blatant thing, and we only explore Marinette's trauma here. So I do hope that moving forward that this is approached by the show, at least, maybe she talks to Adrian about it in the future or something.
And I wonder if we will, I mean, like at the, I guess like the closing scene, the after credit scene, whatever you want to call it, we see where Adrian confronts Chloe about it. And I mean, I can only hope and assume that because they made it a point to include that scene, that we see the repercussions of, not only just like Adrian finding out, but then Chloe being aware that Adrian also knows. And so, it's like, I'm curious as to what we do with that information, but I would suspect that it would continue to play into all of this, especially as we continue to explore the Adrian and Marinette relationship, because obviously that's like, it has had a huge impact on it. And now that like Adrian knows, Marinette's identified, the source of her panic and her anxiety, then like it's just gonna like continue to work its way into the relationship. And I wonder then too how it becomes more relevant with the identity reveal, because
could be interesting. Yeah, we're gonna let's circle back to the future stuff. But in terms of Chloe, that's definitely relevant because one thing Marinette says in the flashback is I can never be with someone who's friends with Chloe as part of her list of things.
Yes.
And Adrian's friends with Chloe. So is that part of the reason? Well, until the end. But is that part of the reason why she's been hesitating? So I think we could dig into that a little bit.
Well, and I was gonna bring that up too, 'cause as you started speaking about it, it reminded me. But yeah, like that's probably another factor that plays into like Marinette just being hesitant to further explore, pursue, allow the relationship to form.
Yeah, and more into Marinette's trauma in a second, but other romance moments, I guess, from because this is in response to, like we said, Marinette can't communicate with Adrian in a romantic sense as they want their relationship to go there. So Perfection exploring that with the I Love Moo and Adrian's song and her response to that as well.
Oh yeah, oh my god, yes. I forgot about that.
What do you think of Adrian's song for Marinette?
Okay, look, it's terrible. It's actually a really horrible song, but like cute.
Adrian sings?
Yeah, that was funny. And I'm like, yeah, it was bad. Like, he shouldn't do it again.
The melody that simply says "I love you," he says, and he reaches out to Marinette. And Marinette's response is, "I need the moo."
So good.
Away. Same.
That's the point where I was like, what are we doing? What is this show?
So goofy.
I need the moo? That was the most outrageous thing for me of the season so far.
And then poor Kagami is like so bent out of shape, and I'm like, you don't even want to be a part of this.
Yeah. You're better off not.
Like, you don't want to know what's going on, Kagami. Like, you would just be so mad that Marinette is this stupid. Like,
you would feel our pain. And then also in Perfection, at the beginning, as Ladybug and Cat, they're like talking to each other about how they're dating other people, which is themselves.
They're so cute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you weren't frustrated by the fact that they're saying, "Oh, we have." Let me find the quotes.
They're so happy; it's impossible.
Can you believe it? I have a girlfriend, you have a boyfriend, and we can talk about it like real friends. It's awesome.
So
yeah, but
cute.
You're talking about each other.
They don't know that, Dylan.
It's so cute. Let them have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really good scene too to open up that. And then in Migration, the only thing really is that they get stuck on the stairs together when they're going in opposite directions, as a metaphor for where their relationship is. You see.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. And then Luka sees them as Ladybug and Cat. But Yeah. So what? So how about there? Before getting a little bit more into Marinette's trauma, how about where we are with Marinette and Adrian? We say they're April. You're more likely to say they're dating now after Derision, whereas you were hesitant before. I feel like.
I mean, after these 3 episodes, I'm much more confident in saying that they're dating because we kind of get like sprinkles of it in Perfection, and then I feel like in Migration, it sort of, I mean, it sort of further takes like hold, and then obviously in Derision, they're going on a date, so they're a couple. It's true. It's happened. It's not well, it's happening, but it has also happened.
Oh, so in our preseason predictions, Marinette and Adrian start dating. The answer is 10 to 20. I think right. We can.
Yeah.
If you want to check who was right about that, Delaney, do you agree that it's official now?
Oh yeah, it's official.
Wow.
And of course, like classic this show to be like, yeah, it's official, but like they got hangups because we can't be happy ever.
Dating 11 to 20 April, but Lady Noir.
Oh dang.
That was kind of true in 1 to 10, right? They were kind of
of.
Delaney said 1 to 10 Adrinette dating, so a little late. I said 11 to 20 Adrinette dating. I win. Ding ding ding. Okay.
Oh
wow!
We all said Sentimonster confirmed 1 to 10, and it has not been officially confirmed.
Oh no!
That's very sad.
That's all I want now.
Yikes! Yeah. The Sentimonster stuff, we'll come back to that in a second. Not in a second, in a while, probably. But I bet you guys didn't know there's Sentimonster talk that is these episodes.
I'm shocked, yeah, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Also shocked.
Yeah, I mean, I agree they're dating, but I think like the official moment is maybe to come, but Derision is as close of an official moment as we've ever gotten. I guess when Marinette can say "I love you" back, but they're also like, why is "I love you" such a thing? Like they're 14. Like
I know they're 14. Like chill out.
They can't say "I love you." Wow. Okay.
But like,
I love Moo.
You don't have to be in love to be dating.
I love Moo.
Oh, well, I guess they're like 12.
I love Moo is perfectly fine for 14-year-old Marinette. You don't need to move beyond "I love Moo." The "I love you" stage comes later. Later. I love Moo though. It's and it's that, but it's incredible that pun works in English as well as it does. And Sarah said it's like the same pun in French as well. So that's very fortuitous that it works so well. Yeah. What else? Where do they stand after the last scene? Yeah, let's talk about that. So where is Adrinette now? So let's recap this last scene because, like I said, I think this scene for me works so much better. And again, not the Chloe scene, the one before it. Watching it again, taking my time with it. Marinette says she knows why she can't say how she feels. She says, I know you would never mean to hurt me, but somehow I'm still scared and I'm afraid. And I'm still scared and I'm afraid I'll still be scared for a long time to come, says Marinette. Adrian says, I'm scared too. I'm scared I won't know how to react. I'm scared of hurting or losing you. But we're together, you and me, and we'll do whatever we can to help each other. And together, maybe we'll become less and less scared. Adrian, like in the scene, very, very much in it, right? Marinette is after the experience she just had is very doubting. But Adrian is like all in right now for sure.
Oh yeah.
And he offers his hand, and Marinette takes his hand, but then drops it again, and she says, "I'm sorry." And Adrian says, "We've got time."
What a patient little boy.
Little fake boy, yeah.
Little fake boy. Man, that has so much more like of an impact now. Just reading it out loud.
I know it's too fast and in the context of the heaviness, but yeah, I mean Adrian's being like really perfect here.
He's being so supportive. Like not only that, he's being supportive. He's being empathetic as well as sympathetic.
Like being genuine to his own emotions as well.
Yes, which I think is like something which like this feels like more of a confession than like him like singing that song to her, telling her he loves her, or like Marinette trying to tell him that she loves him, because like these are like not that they don't love each other, but like these are real emotions and they're the everyday, and things like I love you. I mean, yes, they're wonderful to hear, But or I love Moo, yes. Like they're wonderful to hear and wonderful to say and express, but like these are like the things that make a relationship last, is sharing these feelings and emotions. So this is going somewhere, you guys. And they're doing it together.
That's what Adrian wants, and Marinette is hesitating or is not able to still at the end, and she says she's sorry. So I guess the question is, where is Marinette at after this? What's the next step?
I feel like she's in it, but it's like,
well, you know, how's she gonna she just re-examined her trauma. How is she going to process that, and how's that gonna come into play moving forward?
Well, I think it helps that now she kind of like, you know, for a while she's just been like, there's something wrong with me. I don't know what's going on. But now that she's like, she understands why she's acting this way, she can like work on it.
Yeah.
Not that it's like not to say that like, oh, she's like messed up or something, but like, you know, it's when you realize like what's bothering you, it's a little bit easier to deal with it.
Yeah.
You would think that we have a positive outlook moving forward now that she understands better. Yeah. And
yeah.
Also, the solution is to kill Chloe.
Well, you know, one thing that would help is Adrian confronting Chloe. I don't think he needs to be so brazen like that without talking to Marinette first and kind of seeing how she'd feel about it. But communicating to Marinette that he feels that way and that he directly told Chloe, I do think would help.
Well, I think that's something that'll come later. Because
yeah, I mean, I think a big question after we're talking about this is like, when will Marinette and Adrian talk about this more after the scene? Marinette get into specifics. Adrian
when
talk
Chloe
about his
decides to
with
be
Chloe.
a little brat and take it out on Marinette, that's when it's gonna come up. It's just a matter of It's just a matter of how soon is that going to come up.
Also, I think Sabrina is getting ready to like abandon Chloe.
You've been saying that for years.
It's gonna happen. It's
gotta happen. We've been building for this for so long, Dylan.
You would think. But from before, by the way, when we were talking about when are they officially dating, for me, I feel like it does feel more real now. And I think the biggest thing has been like the show has said they are not unable to date now because of superhero stuff. Like, to me, that's like number one. Like, that was the big hang up for a long time. And we are officially past that now, I think. Yep. Yes. I am not sure exactly why we are past that. It's not like anything particularly changed.
I need to have them out and about, and Tiki and Plog are just like winking at each other. Like,
that'd be good.
You're so annoying.
What if Marinette and Adrian are holding hands on a date and Tiki and Plog hold hands behind them?
I will scream. I will lose my mind. It'd be like so messed up, but also adorable.
And Tiki's like, I'm tolerating this just because of the moment with our owners.
Yeah.
And then Plog will call her Sugar Cube and everything will be fine.
But it does feel real, and yeah, I'm so interested. The podcast is an interesting part here. I'm very and this month-long break we'll have on Disney US. I don't know what's gonna.
Why do they hate us? Like, what did we do to them?
Wait, are we really getting a month-long break?
Yeah, month-long break. Yeah,
unfortunately, but they
it's
are
only a
back.
month though.
They are coming back next month, right?
Yes, June 17th we'll be back next month.
Are you serious? When I'm out of town, upset.
Typical.
You get to watch the first 2 minutes again, and then
I don't know if I'll be able to do that.
Oh no. Anyway, yeah, I think Adrian seems. So I think Adrian has been like fully in on wanting to be with Marinette for, not that Marinette isn't, but Adrian doesn't have the same blocks, obviously. But like Adrian's been unchanged, I feel like, for like 5 episodes now, where Marinette is. It's I think we'll see it. Just the episode ends very quickly after all this happened, so it's a little bit hard to tell right now.
Well, Adrian's been very fortunate because he has.
You see, Adrian's trauma, he does not know about it yet. He doesn't know he's a fake human yet.
He has dad trauma. He has daddy issues.
Yes, but like that's not. It doesn't like directly impact his relationship with Marinette, but when we find out he's a Senta monster, that's a different story. But what I was gonna say is that Adrian has had sort of a consistent confidence when it comes to this relationship, whereas Marinette has not had that same confidence. And it broke my heart. She used to be so confident. I wanted to actually, I might have cried, but so
could it be that Marinette won't ever be confident in this until the identity reveal?
Ooh, dun, dun, dun.
Could that be the moment that makes everything come together and work for her? You know,
Possibly.
I mean, that's very possible. Because one of the things that she vowed in the flashback was that she was going to know every single thing about the person
good point.
She's in love with. And up until this point in their relationship, like, Adrian has had this almost like this complete confidence. And it kind of like wavered a little bit in Migration, but only in the sense of like he's worried that Marinette won't get over whatever it is that's holding her back. Not that like him being Cat Noir is impacting him wanting to pursue this relationship. And so for Marinette, I think that them pointing out that she needs to know every single thing, all of his first names, birthday, what he's doing every single day, at every single time, that's going to play into it, because at some point, like, she has to notice if Adrian disappears to go do Cat Noir things, right? Like...
Yeah, no, it's a good point. And she very bluntly says like the lead up to why she's obsessed with Adrian at the start is it's in her. She had no plan with Kim and was okay with that, but after it not going well, she says she needs to have a plan. She'll never not tell a boy she loves him without knowing everything about him, right? Which you would think yes, because has stalker mode with Adrian, but she doesn't know everything about him, and so if that comes up again, this could lead to her regress, or even if they can go on a date and everything goes fine, if some sort of identity thing, like you're saying, does come up, yeah, that could be the catalyst towards the reveal.
Yes. Well, and the other thing she said too is that she always intends she won't move further unless she has a plan. And she's been coming at this without a plan. I mean, the closest she got was I Love Moo, but
that was a good plan.
I mean, it was. I'll give her like a B+ for, you know, but like that's not like a super well-rounded plan. Like when it comes to plan, when we've seen her plan in the past, it's been extremely elaborate. Like we're talking like red string, newspaper clippings, like elaborate, and usually there's other people involved. So, but in like these last few episodes, we haven't seen any of that, and so I just wonder like if that might be something that we end up coming back to, like her coming up with some elaborate plan to tell like Adrian she's, you know, Ladybug or whatever.
Yeah, she might feel that she has to do that to proceed.
Mm-hmm.
And even just Marinette planning out the next date in elaborate detail seems like that could be good.
I think that would be hilarious with Alia there rooting her on the entire time, because we haven't seen Alia's reaction to this relationship, so I'm ready for it.
Yeah, Alia counsels her a little bit in the Luke episode, but yeah, Alia's reaction to all the trauma stuff and helping Marinette through that. Yeah, so I think this is all just to come. I mean, the only other thing on Marinette's trauma stuff, you talked about what she demands after all this. She says, notably, I think in the beginning of the episode, she says, "Stop pretending to be so nice to me," after she's panicking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So awful.
I know.
Which we learn in response to Kim. Chloe said having Kim do the spiders when, in response to her confessing to him. Yeah.
Also, Kim is still in love with Chloe, and I hate him for it.
Yes.
Yeah, was that a thing in season 1?
Yeah, that was yes. And that was
that
was a thing, because that's why he gets akumatized, I think.
Oh boy, Kim. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else on Marinette's perspective and how the approach, Delaney?
What?
Anything else about Marinette? I'm going to move to Chloe, but anything else about Marinette's side of with Adrian or her trauma or anything?
No, I think we've kind of got it covered.
Any prediction on, out of all the things we've talked about, what the next episode opens with Marinette doing?
Oh, good call. And not an important note, but I want her tiger like plush.
I know they've shown the very prominent at the beginning of this one.
I need it. I don't know. I think it'd be like, so they've kind of done it all. So like so Adrian called her to wake her up, and then like in Migration, they were like all doing stuff to like put Adrian and Marinette together. So I don't know. It could be her planning the date.
Yeah, I feel like the biggest thing I'm wondering is like, are we done with this arc, right? Of Marinette can't say I love you. Is this the end, or is this the next step?
So. I think
it's not. It's next step for sure.
It might be. We might be putting it on the back burner for a second, just because like there's so much other stuff going on too. But I don't know.
Yeah. We'll see if it's even a romance focused episode next. But yeah, I think right, like Marinette's obviously still has issues. It's not like the trauma goes away, but I feel like it will now that she's confronted it, we'll move to a new.
No, I need So Clean to like corner Adrian and be like, hey,
yeah,
I know Taekwondo.
I know how to destroy phones.
So not Marinette's parents, but So Clean gives Adrian the shovel talk.
Absolutely,
yes, that's absolutely what's gonna happen. So Clean and Alia, they're like, all right, let's go.
Big So Clean set of episodes here.
I enjoyed because they introduced her and we were like, who is she?
Yes.
And now we know. Now we know she's important in the past.
Also, like, I love that. Like, in the past, Marinette had all of these different hairstyles, and they kind of seem to be constantly changing. And we see So Clean and her little pigtails, and now we see and we learn whatever we already knew, but like we understand a little bit more as to why Marinette looks up to her, and I just think it's cute that she then starts wearing her hair in pigtails. So
yeah, that's a good point. That's
also So Clean kicking, I guess it was Sabrina's phone. Yeah, Chloe's hand was hilarious.
My favorite is whenever Chloe in the principal's office is like, by some miracle, she didn't hit me. And I'm like, no, that's called aiming, dum dum.
She would have hit you if she wanted to.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about Chloe. I think it's the first time in years we've had Chloe as the main topic for the podcast.
I can't believe she was so close to redemption. She had her hand on redemption, and then she's like, I'm going in the pit.
Yeah.
Has that ever happened before? You have a character so close to redemption, and then you're like, nah.
I mean, I think that's what they're going for with Chloe, probably. But in terms of this episode, I think it is weird that we go very hard on Chloe is terrible, and it's that is what it is. But the thing is, it's not current Chloe, right? This is a different version of Chloe, and
Chloe just says crap. This is intense bullying.
The episode makes you want to hate Chloe, but it's also just not the Chloe that's now, and I think that feels very emotionally weird to consider until the end. Obviously, the last scene.
I think the other thing that doesn't help is that we've hardly seen Chloe since the end of last season. I mean, we've seen her sporadically, and how she was giving her Marinette a hard time whenever her and Adrian were having lunch together, but we haven't seen Chloe. We have no idea.
Since the end of season 3, she's really been
and she was harassing Zoe.
Yeah,
so she's bad to Zoe. She's been written off a lot.
Rose being she's mean because her mom left her. That was the most savage thing that's ever happened. I was like, Rose, you can't just.
And then Maylin's like, my mom left me too, but you don't see me acting like that, savage.
I'm sorry. It was just the immediate Rose, I just couldn't handle it. And of course, you know how Rose is. She's just so genuine. I was like, oh my God.
Big Rose moments. These two,
Also,
the last two
Rose
episodes.
with long hair is not okay.
It
Felt so wrong.
Do that to her. Also, okay, this is awful, but Chloe dragged Julrose. Like, dragged. It was awful.
I don't remember this.
She was like, "Oh, are you gonna go?" Ooh, that was awful.
But now that my brain is working, we know that Adrian coming to school made Chloe less mean.
True.
Because they've told us that in so many words earlier that, like, oh, Chloe's been much better since Adrian has started coming to school. And so I think that also is why, like, that ending scene with her and Adrian is so important, because she's been nice because she wants Adrian to be friends with her and continue to be friends with her.
And she genuinely had like some good moments working with Ladybug in season 2.
Yeah.
And into season 3. And we all thought this was like, we're doing Chloe redemption arc type of thing. And then she works with whatever version of Hawkmoth it was in the season 3 finale. And it's like, oh, is Chloe going to be a major villain? And then she's not particularly prominent in the show for the last season and a half until now, which is our most prominent Chloe episode in a long time. And at the end of the Derision, Adrian goes to say we can't be friends anymore, and Chloe just says a bunch of mean stuff, including why bother having power if you can't use it against those who don't have any. What else is there to think about? The little bees, the planet.
No, the bees are dying. Chloe!
You're the bee person. You should care about the bees.
That one hurt me.
Adrian says, we'll never be friends again, Chloe. You and I are done. And she says, traitor. Until this scene, I'm like, okay, even though I know Chloe's been terrible this episode, I'm still not sure what the show wants me to feel about her, because this really is all in the past. And some of the most recent stuff with Chloe has been Lila instigating her.
Yeah.
So even though Chloe's bad and she wants to do bad things to Marinette, like Lila has really had to instigate her recently. Lila's another topic.
I think Lila's like so much worse than Chloe.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
I get like viscerally angry when I see Lila on screen.
But then in this last scene, these are some of the worst things Chloe could have possibly said.
Well, and I think that's like part of the thing, though, is that Chloe's been trying to be better, but
in her own way,
but she's been doing it like Adrian has been like an underlying motivation of that. If she doesn't have that anymore, like...
Oh, it's interesting. So you think this could set her off the deep end again?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I think this is definitely like setting up like bad stuff. And I think this is, again, weird because I still don't understand like how this is going to like coalesce. But like I feel like we really are, we're setting up this like Lila and Chloe and probably Felix as like the triumvirate of evil.
Yeah, well, Felix,
after Hawkmoth dies because his arm falls off.
I can't wait for Felix to come back.
It's been so long.
I know.
We'll circle back to Hawkmoth.
He also makes me viscerally angry, but not as much as Lila.
That's true.
So I think it seems like we're on the same page here, but I was, look, and I'll say, it's been a long time, but I'm known for being a Luka stan now. Earlier in the podcast, I was known for being a Chloe stan. That was my thing.
You were big for Chloe.
I was so close to being on board with Chloe, and then she was like, nope, I'm jumping in the pit.
And everyone was like at least liking her more in season 2 in the season 3.
It's not even that. It's just that Chloe became less problematic, and
she was doing heroic things, seemingly at least partly not out of self-interest.
Chloe became like hilarious, like
she became a joke, which we've been enjoying. Like we're like, yes, like this is the zany world of Miraculous Ladybug. Like we've got Chloe
who was in.
I can't remember what it was. Like, I can't. It was like she wanted her limousine painted yellow. Like, it was just like nonsense.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of good stuff with her. So and I think that there's been a lot of fan discourse of Okay, after season 3, like people are like, what are they doing with Chloe? Why are we not
This
like
is
doing
what we're
redemption
doing
with
with
her? Is she a
Chloe.
villain now? And then one of the big discourse in season 4 was, why is Chloe not doing anything? What are they doing with Chloe? Is she? I thought she was at least going to be a villain if we're not going to do redemption, but they're doing nothing with her. Now we're in the season 5, and we've still been in this holding pattern. And I think finally, I agree. The show has shown its cards with Chloe in this last scene of Derision. And the answer is that Chloe had made strides. However, Lila has been a bad influence on her. And now this Adrian moment, I think, will be bad. And I think the show is saying that we are fully undoing the progress that was made with Chloe.
What I hate too is that, especially now with like we've shown like the extent of Chloe's bullying, because like originally it would just be like Marinette, just get over it, but like now it's like the show kind of blamed Marinette for Chloe, like because that's part of the reason Marinette was like, I'm not giving you a miraculous.
Yeah, and it's true. Marinette was culpable in a lot of the Chloe stuff, and we didn't have this context. Which is
and so that's that. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think Marinette owes Chloe anything.
At the same time, Ladybug and Cat could have probably prevented what's happening with Chloe if they kept her in the fold a little bit more, for sure. But I think now we are certainly like, the show is like, okay, I feel like I understand now what Thomas and the writers are doing. We're doing the redemption arc with Chloe, and now we're subverting it, and now she's fully undoing the progress that she made, and now she's going to be a villain in season 6.
Wahahaha.
We're anticipating it happen maybe season 4 or season 5. But
I will say, I don't think this means she's irredeemable. Like,
no, right? Like,
no, because she hasn't done anything yet.
Right. She says in these terrible things at the end of Derision, but again, it is just words, and she's like a bratty kid, right? Like,
yeah. So here's my thing with Chloe. Like, there aren't two sides to Chloe. Like, there's just Chloe.
Yeah.
Like, this is just how she is. Lila, on the other hand, like,
well, yeah, another story. But
but again, she's like two-faced. Like, she will literally like. She would pretend.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Like Lila, there's no hope of redemption.
Yeah, like Lila cannot be redeemed, but Chloe, like the thing.
I mean, I think the show is saying Chloe can't be redeemed either, but I agree. It's like she is kind of what she is. Is kind of what the show is saying as well.
Well, I do think I think we're also doing something with Chloe where, like, I mean, I know I've been saying this for years, but Sabrina is going to leave her, and Chloe's going to be left with no one. Because here's the thing with Lila. Lila would throw Chloe under the bus immediately. Like, without the second of thought.
Yeah, so that could be another big impact on Chloe, similar to Adrian leaving her here. Yeah, so we'll.
I was gonna say, it would be interesting if like Chloe becomes a central character in an upcoming episode.
Yes.
And then that's where we get her, I guess, turning to the dark side in a way.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what more dark side there can be until she like has the chance to like take up get a miraculous and, or like be some part of a group that controls a miraculous into next season or something like that.
Well, I wonder. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I mean, it's like, yeah, it is a good question. Will Chloe be, is this the big Chloe moment of season 5, right? Or are we going to get more that leads up to potentially her being one of the people that takes the place of Hawkmoth in season 6? Is that something the show is going to be particularly concerned with building up, or are we saving that kind of till the beginning of next season?
So I guess we could also we also might not be replacing Hawkmoth, because when you think about it, it doesn't make a lot, like Chloe and Lila don't have any motivation other than they hate Ladybug. And Hawkmoth.
We know that you don't have to use that miraculous that way, so it would make sense if the whole format of the show is different, starting in season 6. Yeah.
And the thing is with Hawkmoth, like, there's a reason, like, he needs the miraculous. So maybe he'll just have minions.
Yeah, that's true. He didn't. There's a specific thing. April, anything else on Chloe?
I was going to say something and it completely left my mind, and I feel like I had a good point.
Okay, so cut in if you remember.
But
Yeah, so I think ultimately, like, I think that's like we know the trajectory now. Chloe's going to be involved villainously in some capacity. I think the show wanted you to kind of be holding out hope for her for a while, and this is a turning point. In terms of like the evaluation of that, how the show has handled her, I think it's interesting. Like this notion of doing this redemption arc, subverting it, biding your time, and then doing more of a villainous turn. Like it's interesting. I'm not sure how compelling this has been with Chloe. I think we've identified Chloe as one of the worst elements of the show the past few seasons since season 3. Does this turn it around? I think to be determined for me. Like at least we're doing something with her.
For me,
So
really, like
that's
for us to do something, there really needs to be like, especially now that we know how much Chloe bullied Marinette, that I need some sort of closure, like emotionally for Marinette.
Yeah.
I think that's something that's gonna have to come later, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But I do like how, and I know we said that like this episode is like such a stark contrast compared to like especially with like Chloe, because she's just been kind of like a gag character. We've gotten a couple of jokes out of her. Everything's ridiculous. But I do like this very like stark like contrast like in exploring this side of Chloe, because it's very jarring, and I think that making it even more so after we've just literally been doing nothing with her is kind of exciting. Like
yeah, that's fair.
Because
yeah, I feel that too.
Because that's like the best way to set up a villain, I think.
And my thing is like Dylan was saying, like we haven't done anything with Chloe for so long that it's like, oh, we're doing something now. Yes.
And it's not what we thought.
At the very least, it's like exciting to see where it's going to go with a character who we did care a lot about at one point. And I do think like the shock value is something, right? Like they intentionally like catapulting her after they been you could argue the show has been trying to hide Chloe in plain sight for the past season and a half and convince you that this wasn't going to be an issue anymore, and now maybe it is a big issue. However, this is the middle of the season. I do have a hard time believing Chloe will be a main character in the second half of the season. So I'm interested to see kind of how we handle it. It would be interesting. But yeah, and I'll say, considering we've been very critical about this in the past, I'm not over that yet. I think the notion of doing a redemption arc, subverting it, and then going in the exact opposite direction, I'm not particularly interested in that. If that's what the show is doing, I think if the show was going to make a more subtle point about who Chloe is and this being different facets of her, and something like that, right? Like it's less about like, oh, she was going to be good and now she's evil. Like whatever, I don't care about that. Are we going to actually explore this character and see someone who's been like raised to be extremely selfish, and how that interplays with the power of the Miraculouses in different facets and different situations? I think there's a lot of interesting things the show could do here. So I think to be determined with me, but it's definitely not out of the woods on the Chloe issue that the show has had yet, but it's a step in some direction.
Nice to have.
Let's see what's next. Yeah, and what direction that is, what specifics, I think we'll see. There's just so much going on this season. Like we're not gonna like.
We can't get a break.
That's the thing. I'm like, I don't know what we're gonna do.
Yeah, which I think is an issue with elements of the show that aren't working completely. It's not like the show has any time to like really dive into them. That's a thing. Okay, we'll come back to Lila as well. I don't think it's quite as much of a main topic. Yeah, I think we've gotten this. How about Luka? More on Luka?
Rip.
Okay.
Killed him.
So this is so
the opposite of Chloe, an element of the show that's been working so beautifully.
Rip.
Go ahead, April.
Oh, I have so many thoughts about this. Like first off, I'm so happy that we finally discussed Luka knowing both sides of the story, because that just brings me so much joy, because that has been plaguing me all season long, or ever since he found out. And I do think it's kind of hilarious that we just sort of like wrote him off, but also that doesn't make sense because why couldn't Gabriel just be able to follow Luka wherever he goes around with his dad?
I mean, he can, but like he doesn't like leaving his house.
I'll tell you, April.
Oh no.
Gabriel is the ultimate shut-in. He will not leave Paris. And the only time we've ever seen... Okay, well, he was in Shanghai in the special ones. I don't know if that counts, but he did go to Shanghai.
He's been leaving the house a little bit more.
But will he leave Paris? The one time in season 3, he was invited to go to Tokyo. And you know what he did? He sent Hollow Dad. He didn't go himself.
He sent Hollow Dad.
So I think what's going to happen is he's going to learn Luka's left Paris, and we're going to have the adventures of Hollow Dad chasing around Luka.
Oh my gosh, please.
No, I think he's just going to throw like the biggest tantrum of his life.
Also, okay. The other thing that, like, I don't know how to put into words, but I love that, like Luka's like, oh, I have secrets, and then Hawkmoth immediately is like, do you know the identity of Ladybug and Cat Noir? Like, out of the blue. Like, I mean, he wasn't wrong, but
I guess he like has a psychic link, right? Like, and he can kind of sense it in them to some, like maybe like vaguely.
Well, he sensed he had a secret. He just assumed that secret was
He's just
knowing
so obsessed
the identity.
Yeah.
And that's
where his brain goes to. I like that interpretation too.
I was like, I was like, again, he wasn't wrong, but like super far-fetched. Why would Luka know the identities of all people? Like,
yeah, April. So you were so looking forward to Luka knowing coming into play. Was this satisfying for you?
I mean, I think that the execution of it was very satisfying. Like, I know we kind of like touched on it briefly at the beginning of the podcast, but I love that, you know, like you can see him like setting up like, okay, like, yeah, like he knows like Marinette and Adrian are there and he needs to get them away from the villain. And so he like perfectly executes, you know, like putting everyone down below. And then he's like, oh no, Marinette, you can go up here. Like, and then him say like point blank telling Adrian like, hey, you're Cat Noir and I know that. And you can go be free to be Cat Noir, like
Ladybug and Cat Noir, right? Yeah, it's very satisfying how many times it comes into play. There's 2 times he sees them as, and it flashes, we see them as, and then there's the scenes of him directing when the Kumanization happens.
Mm-hmm.
And then the scene where he tells Ladybug, calling her Marinette.
That scene was so great, like, and like I love that, like, and the other reason why it was so satisfying was just that like Marinette didn't freak out about him knowing. She just like was like, okay, like I understand the situation now and what we need to do. And I thought that was like, first, I mean, yes, it was a Luka episode and we all obviously loved it, but I just loved Marinette in that moment, like of just being like, okay, like got it.
Well, she freaked out a little bit, but Luka was...
Luka says he knows her and Cat Noir as well. Yeah, so Ladybug knows Luka knows that.
Well, I think for me, it felt like a lot of her shock just came from the fact that like he would like nonchalantly included it in their conversation. And then she like it took her like a hot moment to realize like, oh, that's what he said. So, but it was just it was nice, but also we only explored that possibility for like one whole episode.
Yeah, and now it's gone and probably won't come into play again.
Yeah, it's never coming into play again. We're never going to see Alex and we're never going to see Luka.
Yep.
What do you think ultimately, Delaney, of how the show handled it?
I mean, ultimately this was the only way to handle it. Like he had to leave.
Yeah.
I really liked the episode. I really enjoyed it. And I think like this is how it had to, I mean, like with how the show functions, this is how it had to happen. Also, Luka's just so chill. He's like, all right, I just have to do this.
Like he just gets to drop out of school.
Apparently. Well,
never seen him in school.
What? That's true.
Penny's going to teach him. Apparently, Penny's qualified.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm sorry. It was so funny watching everyone just have therapy with him. It was so funny.
Like literally every person who came into the room.
It's so funny.
Yeah, and he says, "Is that really? Are you sure that's really what you want to talk to me
It's so
about?"
good.
Amazing, amazing. And then you know where to find me. To everyone, here's my analysis: is I know Luca better than anyone.
Yeah, you do.
This is the reason Luca accepts this so fast, and the reason this is actually a good thing is because this is a much healthier lifestyle, I think, for Luca. As things are, migration demonstrated how many people are emotionally dependent on him without him having a reciprocal emotionally free relationship with them as well. And
Yeah, they should pay him for all that therapy.
Acting as therapist for all your friends, that's not exactly what you should strive for, right? As a teenager in your life. So I think this will be a good thing for Luca, getting out there, being able to just uh, travel and just with his dad and not have to worry so much about everyone else. I mean, it's a very selfish type of thing, but it's he deserves it, and it's better than everyone being so kind of codependent emotionally on him. So and maybe when he gets back, that some things will be resolved. Maybe we can develop some healthier relationships with people.
Well, I was going to say, and I think he sort of alluded to it. I mean, at least this is how I interpreted it, and maybe I'm just seeing way too much into things. But whenever he was talking to Adrian, it was almost like he was complaining but not complaining, because he's like, oh, well, like, I'm a totally different person with you than I am with my family, and than I am like at school and things like that. And so it sounded like he really didn't understand like who he was, and that was something that he wanted, and now he can go do that by traveling around.
Look, he's an empath, and there are like way too many people around him. Like
he's dying.
So yeah, no, he needed a break. And his dad is not emotionally complex, so he'll be fine.
Might have to sort out that relationship, but yeah. Which Luca is the real one? All of them, I guess. That was a good line from Luca. I want to read the conversation with Marinette, the therapy, because it was so good. Marinette comes to the realization finally that it was selfish of me to be talking to you about my love life when I broke your heart. It only took you like several seasons, Marinette.
Yeah, right.
Luca's response: plays guitar. You didn't break. This is my Luke impression. You didn't break my heart, Marinette. You enriched it with new songs.
God, so
ones that are sometimes cheerful, sometimes sad. The only thing that breaks my heart is seeing such a miraculous buddy be so hard on herself.
The fact out of here. This made me so mad. I was like, shut up.
If it's like not the show being cute, but Luca making a reference to the fact that he knows, then I think that's great.
No, I think Luca knew what he was doing when he said miraculous.
So this is what Delaney meant with Luca being a cuck here, right? Like, for sure.
Yes,
like, for sure.
God,
but
I was like yelling. I was like, oh my God. Like,
well, I was gonna say maybe Luca just realized that his work with Marinette was done because she came and apologized, and he's like, I can move on now.
He's like, I'm free.
I'm free.
You didn't break my heart, Marinette. You enriched it with new songs.
I am so much.
Oh my gosh.
At least we got so many iconic Luca things before he, like, oh my goodness, that scene is so good.
It was so good.
His therapy with everyone's so good, and we have the new catchphrase. Are you sure that's really what you want to talk to me about? His scene with Ladybug. I love Luca and Ladybug, like, holding hands. Like, this is my new ship on the extended Love Square. Luca x Ladybug specifically. It's so good.
Oh, I ship Luca, Marinette, and Adrian like they're a throuple.
What about Kagami?
I mean, that's a different throuple, and I also ship that.
Okay, simultaneous thruples, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I like it.
I also ship just Marinette and Kagami.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he leaves Paris.
Also,
I enjoyed that he has like this big dramatic moment, and his mom's like, what? That was good.
Yeah, I guess the other Luca parts is him like telling his mom to give people a chance, and then he gets burned by it immediately.
And he's like, please throw him off.
And he's upset about that.
But he doesn't get akumatized, so that's nice.
No, he gets. He doesn't
like fully get akumatized. Yeah.
But Luca's upset about that. You know, he sees someone that's trying to be so trusting and open and good and being taken advantage of. I love that as the reason Luca gets akumatized. And he rejects it. He smashes the guitar to the ground.
And Hawkmoth is so
little dramatic.
Hawkmoth, yeah. Yeah, and at the end, he volunteers he needs to leave Kitty section, and their inner tunes can be written without him. Man, these people can write their own inner tunes. Have you seen them, Luca? I don't know about that.
Julika's fine though.
Julika for the
Julika's
music,
great.
at least. But yeah, and then we see some pictures at the end, right? With
Yes.
Yes, with his dad.
with them around the world. Oh, well, I just got a text, guys. Do you hear that?
Oh my
Oh
god.
gosh.
It's from Luca.
Oh my
Wow. I mean, this
What's he
isn't
doing?
Luca, but I could read it in his voice if you guys would like.
god. No.
Yes.
Ooh, that's the dualities of the reactions to Luca right there. Luca says, "Dear my best friend Dylan."
Dear
Okay.
my best friend Dylan.
That's how Luca.
This is
That's how Luca starts all his texts. Yeah,
So
that's how he starts all
poetic.
his texts.
Thank you.
I had to leave, but I'll miss you guys more than anything, especially Delaney and April, who are also my best friends. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Don't worry about me being gone, though. I'm going to text you
Couldn't visit
updates.
us? We're not in Paris.
I'll be going around the world and I'll text you guys in updates. Maybe I'll be in your neck of the woods.
Yeah,
That's-
he just shows up.
That's what he said in the text, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
So don't worry about me. I'll let you know how I'm doing. I'm in Egypt right now seeing the pyramids. Here's a picture. Love, Luca. Oh, man. There's Luca's. There's an update from Luca.
Dear my best friend Dylan.
That's how he starts every single one of his texts with me.
I like how there's an opener and a sign off in his text messages. Good stuff.
What is he, like 75?
Yeah, he's like a 45-year-old woman. That's how he texts.
We should all strive to write such loving text messages as my best friend Luca.
I'm crying. Stop.
Okay, so we'll see if Luca texts us at any point randomly in the podcast
The
throughout the
real-
rest
the
of the
real-
season. Are you guys excited for that?
The
Man,
real
I'm so
tragedy here is that Luca had to stop his own podcast.
Well, it's good timing, honestly, that Luca stopped his podcast right before he's forced to leave Paris. I didn't
Okay,
even know that was
first
going to
off,
happen.
Suspicious. Dylan.
Suspicious.
I didn't know.
Uh-huh.
Look, if you must know, I would have saved your guys' appearance on the Lucas Lyrics podcast until this exact episode, which is what I was hoping would happen this season. But I got impatient during the break, and I wanted to do it early.
Impatient during the break.
But I was literally, this is what the episode I thought. I didn't know the extent to which should be explored, but we knew that this was coming, right? Like to some extent.
Yeah.
It was just so beautifully executed.
No, the best part is like I texted. I messaged in a group chat that has Dylan and Tanya in it, and I was like, "Rip Luca," and then Tanya has to text me because she's at work. She's like, "Wait, did Luca actually die?" Because like she doesn't
Effectively.
know. So I told her what happened, but I was like, "Yeah, I mean, he basically died."
In our hearts, but no, he'll still be in our hearts.
For the record, for context, I also said, "Oh my God, they killed." I said, "Oh my God, Alia died," when Alia had to renounce her Miraculous.
That's how people die in this show.
Yeah,
That's true.
I was like, Alia died. Like, I mean, I remember I cried so hard when that happened. Ooh. I didn't cry over Luca, but it's just because I was so shocked.
You would have cried though if there wasn't the shock factor. You would.
It was
cried.
really shocking, and then also, I mean, Migration was like low-key a hilarious episode. Like,
Yeah.
Yes. The duck
Okay, cool.
record, 1000% for it.
The record stuff I thought was I'm surprised they went so silly there with the
it was
Ducky Nuts
really
bit,
funny.
And he sent the record
And then
like,
Rose.
into
Oh my God,
space.
they did it. Rose was like, "I love Julika."
Okay,
And there was like
let's
the
go.
longest pause. And then she's like, "And all my friends."
Yeah, Delaney, what do you think about that? Did you buy it that she was just saying "I love Julika" in the song before the pause ended?
Yes, I did. I was like, "Oh my God!" But then it kind of made it better that she said "and all my friends" because I know because I know the show has to do it for like censorship reasons, but it's so funny.
Yes.
Like it was like the longest pause on earth. Like it was so long.
I think this is one of the funniest like beating the censor moments for Queer
And
Rep that we've ever
And
seen.
hand to Julika immediately. It was so good.
Well, she's, with all my heart, I love Julika. We see Julika blushing, long pause, and then Luca, Ivan, Marinette, and Alia.
It was so funny.
Nice of her to include her girlfriend's brother. Appreciate it.
Yeah, right after. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, I totally buy that was intentional, but I mean, okay, I was gonna say I think this is the most blatant Julrose moment
yes,
ever.
that's what I was gonna say too. This is like so blatant, and then like it's just the longest pause ever. It's so funny.
It's the pause after, and we see her blushing, right?
Yes.
Like,
good.
so it's shocking how blatant they are, and then also shocking how like lackadaisically they try to cover it up
It
right
was
after.
so funny. They were like, "No, it's fine," because she says she loves all her friends. Just ignore the like 30-second pause. It's not important.
It's like they were making a point to say what they said, and then they were like, just kidding, censors.
Oh.
If this actually airs in China, that'll be so funny. Like,
yeah,
they just didn't catch it. Like, you didn't catch this. This is the most blatant thing ever.
Well, great. Now you tipped off the Chinese government.
I think they're listening to our podcast.
Our podcast.
Yeah, that was a big highlight too. Yeah.
It was so funny. Like, and she was the first one. So funny.
So good. Let's go reverse order of the things I have on the also here. So Lila, more on Lila. So speaking of funny, in Perfection, we learned that Lila's been trying to manipulate Kagami and with this friendship quiz, and Marinette doesn't pass the quiz. I guess she's not your friends.
It was messed up. I was like, oh my god, what's this?
To be fair, kind of legit that Marinette wasn't being a good friend.
Oh no, I was like, answer the phone, and then I was also like,
yes,
go beat her up, like literally just fight her.
So here we see this one random Lila scene. This is the most Ladybug move ever. We see this one scene of Lila in her room. She's cutting Marinette's face out of photos.
So yes.
Like,
soon you'll have no one left, Marinette. Soon you'll have nothing.
All those photos. She purposely went and printed them out so she could destroy
I guess she printed her Instagram. Yeah,
like she's nuts. Like absolutely. Like this is like deranged. Like that movie Roommate behavior. Like.
Soon you'll have no one left, Marinette. So, Lila has a plan to cut everyone out of Marinette's life and ruin Marinette's life. That's what we're getting from this?
Apparently.
Yes.
I guess this is just, again, hinting towards Lila being part of this some sort of villain thing.
I mean, we have to keep Lila relevant, right? So that's why we just like sprinkle her in every couple of episodes. Like
this is the classic Ladybug throws in one scene that has nothing to do with anything. I mean, this at least relates to Lila talking to Kagami, but like,
yeah, I felt so bad for Kagami. Ugh. I'm like, don't talk to her. She's a snake.
I love at the end though that Kagami like goes to first of all, Marinette says you're just as much my best friend as Alia to Kagami. Lie.
Absolutely straight up lie.
Kagami exchanged contact information with Alia and everyone else, and then she calls Lila to be friends with her too. I thought that was like the ultimate in your face to Lila. Like, I'll be friends with you along with everyone else.
Yes.
I thought that was a great way of Kagami handling Lila at the end. What is Delaney? What is Lila planning? Do you have any specific ideas?
No. Also, I don't really know how successful she's gonna be. Like, I mean, like my thing is like she's actually like Marinette is legitimately friends with everyone, and everyone knows Lila's a snake. So
isn't Lila harmless? Like she talks a big game.
Like I understand. Like I'm sorry, Kagami easily manipulated. Like I don't like I understand like why Kagami fell for that, but like I'm like no one else is going to fall for this. Like what are you gonna do?
Yeah, like where are you going with this, Lila? What
she has manipulated Chloe.
Yeah.
But Chloe doesn't want to be friends with her.
Easy target because she already hates Marinette.
Yeah. So I'm just like, okay, like I don't really like. I just like. I think. I mean, I'm sure Lila has something awful planned because Lila's like legitimately evil. So I don't know. I really enjoyed them super dramatic. Like she's basically how Marinette is with Adrienne now. Like she's like obsessed with Marinette.
That's
also
true.
Also she's like trying to be sneaky about it.
Yeah.
She like she shared an online quiz with her.
Yeah. It's pretty funny. What if Lila just is in love with Marinette and doesn't realize it?
I mean, I think we've shown at this point that everyone in the show is in love with Marinette, so like I'd buy it.
I mean, so clean. Do you think is that how you're interpreting the flashback, Delaney?
No, I think Marinette's in love with So Clean. I think it's a one-way street.
I think So Clean might have liked Marinette a little bit.
I think So Clean is like a little, like, I think she's like more than a year older. I think she's like significantly older.
I think the show presented her as a year older. I don't. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But the timeline.
Like
I guess
sophomores don't have
Marinette.
prom, and I'm like, dude, the French have prom, or did they say
Aren't they
something
all in?
else?
Are they all in middle school though? And middle school goes up to ninth grade, and Marinette was in eighth grade, and the flashback isn't in ninth grade now. Is that what's happening? And they're still in middle school.
I'm baffled.
Their school structure is completely different. Like,
yeah, it might just be completely different. But that's I think what I said might have been. I think there's supposed to be a year, but whatever. It's not like
Well, I know they I know Marinette and Adrian are like 15 now.
Are they?
14 or 15, yeah, whatever.
I thought they had a birthday anyway.
They went from 13. They went from 13 to 14 in season. Oh, and then we know it's only been a year.
Yeah. So Marinette's anyway, 14.
They should be 14, I think, but I don't know. Okay.
The drama.
Yeah.
Kagami, all the stuff with Kagami and getting akumatized, and now she's better friends with everyone after Marinette.
Also, I was like, do we really need to bother her? Like, she's fine. She's not doing anything.
Yeah.
Like, when she was akumatized, I was like, is this really bad? It was kind of sad, though.
Yeah, what do we think of the akumatized villain just being invisible and just sitting in milk?
Also, I was like, what was your plan, Hawkmoth? Like,
yeah, I don't understand, because
like, I'm like, Hawkmoth, what are
was it just to irritate like Ladybug and Cat Noir? He's like, well, if I can't defeat them with violence, I'll do it with annoyance.
I don't understand. I guess he knew they would like probably do everything they could to like bother her, but I don't know.
Yeah. Also, any other Kagami thoughts though?
I'm like, she's not doing anything. Like, she literally didn't do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, she got irritated at the helicopter, but like,
that's true.
So it's nice she's friends with everyone at the end, and Marinette should be more considerate of those around her. Yeah.
Also, just pick up your phone, which is literally.
Yeah, I like that Marinette was like, Kagami will think I'm utterly ridiculous, though. That was her reasoning, which is true. She will.
Yeah.
Yes.
To be fair.
And then the best part of the episode.
Okay, so at the end, we have a post-credit scene in Perfection. Kagami's mom is pissed at Gabriel and comes in.
Kicks the door open.
Yeah.
Any interpretations of the scene for either of you?
Wait, what do you mean?
What is Gabriel's side of their quote-unquote contract?
Yeah, good question.
Because what did he potentially promise her in order to get her to help him?
Yeah, because like at this point, it's like, is she benefiting at all? Other than, I guess, like he helped promote the rings, and I guess that's like, and she's making money off of it.
But it has to be like more than that. Like, why?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And she got real mad about him akumatizing her daughter. And
you could have just taken his head off. Like, just beat him up down the street. Like, just hit him with the stick.
Okay, you ready to have your minds blown?
Yep.
So I did not interpret the scene this way the first time. I don't know if I would have if I hadn't seen it on the Discord. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Miss Tsurugi says, you sent a Megakuma into my daughter's ring. You endangered her. If you don't honor your contract, Gabriel, I'll make your dream disappear, just like you tried to do with mine. Don't forget that you owe me everything. The key here, though, she doesn't say, you akumatized my daughter. She says, you sent a Megakuma into my daughter's ring. You endangered her.
But he sent the whatchamacallit into her ring. The Miraculous. Right?
Does Kagami have a
yes,
whatever it's called? Yeah.
Yeah, she got the dragon.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. She did get it transferred into her, the Alliance ring.
Yeah.
Anyway, people think Kagami is a Senate monster because of the scene.
Okay.
What?
So,
you're right. Crap.
So you sent a Megakuma into my daughter's ring. You didn't, not that you akumatized her. And the thing is, Kagami renounces her Miraculous at the end of this episode. It does not get destroyed. If the ring is her akumatized object, or her peacocked object, then she would have died, which is why her mom is so pissed that if cataclysmed the ring, she would have died. Whereas she renounced the Miraculous and now she's okay. Furthermore, I'll make your dream disappear. The dream is Adrian being revived. Just like you tried to do with mine, referring to the fact that there's an equivalent dream of Kagami being a Senna monster being alive is her dream.
Crap.
Oh no.
And that would explain why she helped him, like, in the first place.
Because I wonder if the quote unquote contract is now not just to. But then what are we doing with the dead wife?
I thought Gabriel's going to be the dead wife.
You're right.
Remember that from last podcast? Yeah.
But like,
don't ever forget again that you owe me everything, implying that maybe not only that Tomoe's technology is responsible for the alliance rings, but that Tomoe was vital in the initial Adrian being a Senna monster in the first place.
In creating like that. Oh my gosh, because the rings are the whatchamacallits for the Senna for like Felix and Adrian.
Yeah, so maybe Kagami. I haven't really thought through how everything with the rings and the alliance rings and stuff works. I'm not sure. Delaney, reaction to this?
I'm shook. Kagami's a Senna monster.
We're convinced. We're very easily convinced that people are Senna monsters, so I expected us to buy
this makes so much sense.
Well, but like, yeah, if you would have just been like,
it explains
Kagami's
their
a
partnership,
Senna monster,
right? Like,
yeah, if you would have just been like, Kagami's a Senna monster, I would have been like, no, she's not. But you laid down the evidence.
Right, I mean, it's like, why did they phrase the scene this way? Why is the scene so prominent at the end? Like, yeah,
but you're right, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be true, right? Like, you sent a Megakumen in my daughter's ring. It's so intentional, yeah.
Oh.
It's got to be true, and honestly, that makes me pissed. Like, why are we doing this with Kagami? Here's my thing. I've been sitting on this for a little. You guys just heard it. I love that. We love that Adrian's a Senna monster when that came into the show. I feel like that was like the perfect lore expansion for the show. It's emotionally connected to like one of the leads of the show, to the main conflict with the villain and like with the villain's goals and everything. It has like such an emotional basis. The explanation of like they either couldn't have a kid or their kid died, and that's what Adrian is, like the replacement child. Like, it has such an emotional core. Everything is so amazing about Adrian being a Senna monster. Like, everything works. You add in Felix, and I feel like we're starting to bog down that core. You know what I mean? Like I love Adrian being a Senna. And then so now Felix is here, and it's like, oh, he has an identical cousin who was also created. I don't know the explanation with Felix yet. The show hasn't told us anything. But it starts to get messy. And now we're adding Kagami too. Like, I feel like we're getting very far away from what I fell in love with the Senna monster lore in the first place.
I agree with Felix. My thing with Kagami, I think it makes sense just in that, like, why is she helping him?
I think it gives a satisfying explanation to the presence of the Tsurugis, for sure, yeah. And everything we've been hinting at with their partnership. So I guess it would go something like,
and
like there was a fourth, like we saw the hunt when Natalie was the hunter, that there was the three of them initially looking, and so maybe Tomoe was the secret fourth partner involved too with the initial hunter. Yeah, I don't know if it goes back that far, but Tomoe was involved when they made the wish, the wrong term, but to bring Adrian to life, and Felix and Kagami at the same time, and it was three of them. Is that what happened? It was Tomoe and Emily and Amelie, and those are the three moms that had their fake children created at the same time.
It's pretty weird.
Because we know that they're, like, Kagami and Adrian's family are pretty close, and they've been that way for a while. And I think adding Felix as a Senna monster worked well, because it creates that drama for us to discover it, and for other characters. Kagami being a Senna monster, we
have to process it, I think, and we have to see how the show does it. Here's my big fear now: isn't this too much to reveal this season?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Granted, I do think, like, So, not everyone buys into Sentimonsters, right? So what if the reason Kagami is a Sentimonster, not like the reason, but like the narrative reason she's a Sentimonster, is to ease us. So when it's, like, let's say, I don't think this is going to happen, like, this season, but let's say Kagami is revealed to be a Sentimonster this season. So then later, when they later reveal that Adrian is a Sentimonster.
I was going to say, it's going to be like Kagami's the first domino to fall. And
yeah, that would be interesting if they revealed it like that, for sure, yeah.
And then that would give way for our characters, even though they're all dumb.
Oh, maybe they process Kagami being a Sentimonster and then they don't, without knowing Adrian's one. That would be interesting, yeah.
And then, like, I mean, it would be super dramatic if, like, Marinette then starts to see those things. Maybe she doesn't see them in Adrian at first, but maybe she sees them in, like, Felix. Because we would have, I mean, we're getting,
and then we do Felix, and then Adrian. Last. There's a good way there that they could do it.
Or it could be a great way to lead into the identity reveal, because maybe Marinette starts to see it in Adrian. Felix is doing his own thing, but she starts to see it in Adrian. She wants to talk to him about something, and she's like, "I know your secret." And he's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm Cat Noir. How did you figure it out?"
And they came out, Sentimonster reveal and the identity reveal happened at the same time.
Yes, Thomas, hire me.
We are deceased immediately. Yeah,
Thomas, hire me. Come on.
That would be good.
Oh man.
Yeah, I think there's a way that would be a great way to do it. I think the other way here's the thing. All I need with the Sentimonster reveal this season is one flashback scene with Gabriel and Emily, and we see them bringing him to life with the Peacock Miraculous, and we see the origin. We just need to see that scene.
I think
that's kind of all you need, and I need that to happen this season.
I need Gabriel to not be in it. I need it to be Emily.
I think all the three moms.
Yeah,
instead,
like
and
the
not
three
Gabriel.
moms instead, because
that'd be funny. Yeah,
because then that would also, like, I mean,
it'd be funny if Gabriel wasn't even involved in the start, and it was actually, and he just comes in after. Yeah,
that's what I was like going to try and describe, is that like Gabriel wasn't involved in it in any way, shape, or form, and then all of a sudden Emily's just like, I did something, and it's had these repercussions now, and like that sets that scene. That would be
that he learns later. That would be pretty interesting twist, and it makes him feel very hapless, even on top of,
because they've said that, like, Adrian and Felix are essentially the exact same age. Like, they haven't point blank said that their birthday is exactly the same, but we also know barely anything about Kagame's past besides the fact that Adrian more or less grew up with Kagami, and their parents are constantly pushing them to be together. Not like together romantically, but like be friends, be involved in each other's lives. So, oh
man.
Who came up with that? I want to thank them.
The problem with avoiding spoilers is we're not seeing like these initial theory posts as they happen, right? So I'm not sure.
Gosh.
But and we're probably missing some stuff too,
Oh.
But it is what it is. But yeah, I think I might have caught on to this on second viewing. I'm not sure, but the phrasing is very blatant.
Because it's not like a translation thing. Like, sometimes we can chalk it up to translation, but
this is it's the whole scene. Yeah,
my world is shook.
The next step, Luka's a Sentimonster.
Stop.
Jagged Stone is with the three moms.
Penny's creating a Sentimonster.
Everyone is a Sentimonster.
So okay, but last thing. Speaking of Marinette's trauma, my trauma is on this podcast is lore trauma. I have lore trauma with these shows, and these shows not giving us their lore. I just went through this with the Owl House with the villain lore there, and it's not just that show; it's every show doesn't show us all its cards with the lore in the end. I don't know why we keep doing this. Ladybug, I need to see the Sentimonster origin scene. I need to see it. Please don't leave us hanging this season with it. I don't care if the season 6 is coming. That's gonna be in 2 years or something. Like, tell us exactly what happened with the Sentimonsters in explicit detail. Please give me that episode. I need this. Ladybug, please.
That would also explain how whatchamacallit ended up in the dead wife garden.
Emily?
Yeah, because it was too much.
Because they were bringing multiple Cinemonsters to life.
Yeah, in one go.
I guess it probably was only one person wearing it. Yeah, so maybe Emily was creating all three at once. That would be really interesting.
Well, because she would have had it. Because we know that like Gabriel and Emily had them initially, or have had those initially, and so. Oh.
Yeah. Okay. More on this to come. We'll see if we have more Kagami.
This is gonna plague my dreams.
Yeah. But dream about it, write it down, and then tell us what your Cinemonster dreams were next time.
Okay.
Ladybug Dream Journal, Cinemonster Journal.
Perfect.
Huh. Okay. I know we are going long, but we haven't even talked about Kim and the political message with Kim in Derision.
Oh my God.
I don't think there's a lot to say about this, but I was not expecting Ladybug to make a commentary on you can't say anything about anyone these days. You can't speak your mind these days kind of people, which are very more prominent than ever, especially on places like Twitter with people like Elon Musk, So there's a lot of these conservatives out there, right? And so if you children are not aware of what we're talking about, it's people think that the political climate has changed and that we're more considerate about people, therefore you can't you can't speak your mind freely, when in reality, people have been saying this forever, and it's really just people not being considerate of other people's feelings, like you should be as a basic human being. And that's what we're referring to here. And Ladybug usually doesn't get this blatant politically this, right?
No.
Clearly, I think Thomas is pissed at these people and the writers, right? Like this, and it's an easy target. Putting it onto Kim, interesting. I mean, he's a kid.
He's an easy target.
He's an easy target. He's so dumb.
Yes.
But I bought it. I guess I bought it from Kim, and they went very blatant with it, right? Yeah. Any other thoughts on the messaging, Delaney?
I mean, I think it's like a lot for Ladybug, but it's pretty tame as far as like.
I would be curious to see if this one makes it past the Chinese censors.
I have no idea about the specific country's climates, I didn't hear about this getting censored in France like the police episode was, at least, but
Yeah.
This is not like a controversial message, like you should be considerate of people's feelings, not feeling the need to say everything you want to say, right? But it is in
it's an interesting word choice.
Yeah.
It's the phrasing is exactly what people say.
Exactly.
It is very it is very relevant in the U.S. and other country, I assume, political climate. You have politicians basically saying these sorts of things. And I should say it applies to not just conservatives. There's probably also many moderates and even liberals saying this sorts of thing, especially men. And the show commenting on it's a very good look for the show that it's aware of these types of things and doesn't feel the need to hold its punches. With the police thing, it doesn't feel the need to hold its punches. This episode, it went out of the way to make this commentary, right? Like it didn't need to do this at all. So
you could have taken the line out and we wouldn't have noticed, but we noticed.
It was many times too. Yeah, Kim says, "Loosen up." It's like, yeah, you can't even speak your mind these days. We should be able to laugh at anything and anyone, says Kim when he's a villain. I almost forgot. Oh my God, Monarch chimes in.
I need him.
A free spirit feeling unjustly rejected. As an ardent defender of freedom of oppression, it's my duty to help.
What?
Dramatic.
Like whatever.
You akumatized a baby last week. Shut up.
We all know Gabriel is an ardent defender of freedom of expression.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, his son, who's not allowed to do anything.
Yeah, right. Interesting take, Gabriel.
Man, I can't believe Gabriel's getting red-pilled on Reddit. Who knew? Like, I can't believe he's fallen down the rabbit hole.
Supervillain Reddit.
r/supervillain, yeah.
Yeah.
He's getting, we supervillains can't even say what we want these days. It was very funny to just say, and that is it contributes to the blatantness of the messaging, right? It takes the show's villain and says, I also think that this terrible message is true, like the bad guy. So they really went in on that with that. And by the way, I think for the most part, they had Monarch say that just to contribute to the messaging. But we talked last podcast about how they're being more blatantly showing Gabriel being evil lately, and I do think this contributes to it. The show has stopped defending Gabriel, I think, in terms of us sympathizing with him. This is another notch in that belt of maybe he's gonna die, you know?
Yeah. And I won't be sad because you suck.
I'll be sad. Not as sad as Luka leaving, though.
Well, I was going to say, you won't be sad because he's the reason Luka has had to leave.
Oh, that's an interesting framing of this. Okay, I can buy into
because if it wasn't for Gabriel, Hawkmoth, then Luka could have just hung around still.
Okay.
But
I don't know if I can forgive him for this. It's a good point.
You're welcome.
Okay, going through the rest of the episodes, the other things from the episodes I wanted to specifically make sure we hit on everything in Derision. Tired, but let me try to power through for at least to make sure we mention specific things. I think we did talk about most of Derision.
Wait, I have a question. Where is Chloe getting all these bugs?
Yeah, like, I guess Sabrina has to deal with it. Like, there's no way Chloe touched these bugs. Like,
I bet she asked Jean-Claude to get the bugs for her.
Probably, you're right.
We should bring back the Jean-Claude gag. That's another time when Chloe being
That's
goofy,
such a
right?
good. That's such a good gag.
That was a great one. And the teddy bear.
The teddy bear. It's there's a good point earlier. There's so much like kind of sympathizing, funny stuff with Chloe that's just not in the show anymore. So,
I don't know that we're gonna get it back.
Yeah, that shows that the show doesn't want it.
The show went hard.
Marinette gets akumatized, and the notable thing was we don't see Monarch send the Akuma, right? We just see the perspective of it coming in and Marinette being akumatized.
And we don't have like him coaching her along like he does with almost every other victim.
We like hear it in the background. He says emotions get so strong that you lose control of your physical being. Thank you for explaining.
Thank you for telling me what trauma is.
Yeah. But the decision to have this be purely Marinette POV, I think, was really interesting by the show.
Well, so you can stream about it.
What was that?
It's so you can stream about it, like I did, because I was like, "No, it's coming, no!"
Also, we keep almost akumatizing Marinette.
We're stressing. I gotta quit it.
Like they need to stop it. Either commit or don't. At this point.
She can't get akumatized. The show will be over.
Yeah, literally. Like there is no solution.
I'm like, y'all gotta stop this.
Marinette. The thing is, Marinette doesn't even focus on being akumatized. She says, like, I need to figure out why I'm like this.
Yeah.
Whenever I get so close to Adrian. She's not like, I need to figure out why I'm about to be akumatized. She said, I need to figure out why I'm like this with Adrian.
But that's the thing, though. Like, with, having such high anxiety, especially revolving around like a very specific, like this situation that she was in, like no wonder she was triggered because it was very identical to what had caused everything. But like, that's how it is whenever you're in those like anxiety, attacks or panic attacks, is that you're not really in tune with what else is going on because you're so like absorbed in. I don't want it to sound selfish by saying absorbed, but you're like.
Yeah. I like that point that it relates to the panic attack that she's.
As someone who has panic attacks, I appreciate it.
Nice. Anything from the flashback? We didn't really go into the flashback in detail. Like
all the teachers sucked too.
Oh my god, it was awful.
Miss Mendeleev not good.
No.
Here. We see the principal being bad as expected, right?
Yeah, I already knew that though.
Yeah.
Also, I wonder who keeps sending me these anonymous tips.
This anonymous Chloe,
yeah.
I hate him.
Marinette's so carefree, confesses to Kim. Why shouldn't I like him? He's nice and funny and kind of cute. April, do you want to talk more about why Kim is a bad choice for Marinette?
There's so many reasons. Like, he's in love with Chloe, for one.
I forgot about that part completely.
Like, which
he says Chloe is prettier, but yeah.
Well, I don't know. I kind of interpreted it as him still like saying that he is in love, which is why what is it?
Ondine gets mad.
Yes, I don't blame her. I'm surprised she wasn't akumatized.
I honestly didn't think it was going to be Kim. I thought it was going to be her.
Oh man, that would have been better. But I am just so sad because Kim's so dumb and he didn't realize, like, he's like, haha, that's how she reacts to pranks. Nah, man, how are you this thick-headed that you don't see that what you did was wrong at all? Like, that's not a prank. And, sweet Marinette. She used to be so confident.
I know. Will she ever get back to that with Adrian?
I hope so.
Maybe when they've dated for a little bit.
Yeah.
But the flashback was good stuff. Yeah, I think we've talked about a lot of elements of it already. The Kim stuff. Marinette comes running down the stairs after the flashbacks. Adrian, I know what's wrong with me. It's not my fault. It's not your fault either. It's all Chloe's fault.
That was great. 10 out of 10.
Yep. Loved it.
I don't know if that's the proper conclusion, but yeah.
It's not, but it's funny.
So dark Kim is dark humor. He shoots arrows at people, makes them do practical jokes, and there's a laugh track which I think is very funny.
And none of them are like practical jokes. They're all like mean.
But probably the most notable thing we can talk about, Kat gets really mad at Kim.
Yes.
Yeah. And Ladybug has to restrain him.
He was gonna cataclysm his face. I think she should have.
Yes. Which is also that's also very interesting for Adrian to feel so emotional about it because
about Marinette, and learning that Kim was mean to her in the past. Yeah.
Because we know that he did not react very well after cataclysming Hawkmoth, so
he's like, nah, die.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have been good for him, but yeah, it just shows his love for Marinette now. And this intense feelings as a result.
To be fair, Ondine was gonna mess him up too.
Yeah.
Also, I kept getting I got frustrated whenever her Lucky Charm got knocked
out. Mad. I was so mad. And then and then I really enjoyed Hawkmoth be like, she had time to change back, you dumb. Like,
yes.
I was so mad.
Because I love that Kim's like, wait, where did she get a Lucky Charm from? And he had to explain it to him.
No, I thought this was very satisfying because the thing is like, why don't you just attack when she's doing the Lucky Charm or when she's transforming? That's obvious. Like,
yeah,
and he did for once. He did it during the Lucky Charm. I thought that was great. By the way, when Kat gets hit, he like frolics around with like ball pit balls coming out of his cataclysm.
So cute.
Ladybug pretends to have been hit after the redoing the Lucky Charm, yeah, and then glues the toilet to his head.
Yeah.
Two of us will always
you don't
be
like
there.
my joke? So funny. Good stuff.
Kim, at the end, another blatant thing from this episode. He says, I'm just a fool who doesn't think about the consequences of what I say or do, but I'm going to change. So there you go, Kim.
Well, I really enjoyed he's like, change. I hope I didn't do anything awful while I was akumatized. And then Ondine's like, you do horrible things when you're not akumatized.
Right?
Yeah. That's good. Okay, and we talked about the last two scenes. Going back to perfection. We talked about the montage. There's like nice visuals with Marinette talking about Kagami finding out. Oh yeah, we did the montage of their friends staging situations for them to be together.
It was unbearable to watch. I couldn't do it. It was rough.
It was hard.
And the guy, I'm so clumsy. Like I was like, shut up.
But they're gonna do empathetic listening, and Alia prevents Chloe from stealing this Adrian's seat.
Oh yeah, and then Lila's like, no, she could do it if she
wants. You have to be hush-hush about it.
So annoying. I was like, shut up, Lila.
Chloe says, you were in your place as my best friend.
My blood pressure goes up so high when I see her on screen.
We need to dig into Delaney's Lila
I
drama.
hate her
That's
so
what we
much.
need to dig into.
She's the worst. She's just every mean girl in your high school. Like, she's just the worst.
But like, she's not doing anything either. Like,
yeah,
she's trying to.
You know that she's like the worst person.
cutting out pictures in a room. That's what she's doing.
And she's talking about Marinette like losing all of her friends, and I'm like, bruh, you've been at this for like a really long time, and you've made zero progress.
Imagine hating someone so much you start going to school.
It's a good Ladybug Lila joke. The scene of Marinette practicing trying to say I love you to a dummy with Adrian's photo.
That was really good. I enjoyed that a lot.
This is one of the greatest scenes in Ladybug history. Her face gets really puffed up and red, and we zoom in close.
So funny.
On her
My
struggling to say it.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, yes. Tiki is very exasperated with her. And she figures out, Adrian, I love Moo, and she prints out the picture.
She like has like a moment like of clarity. She's like, I can say that. Like, let me go get a cow.
So, and Alia's like, what?
Is Marinette's puffed up zoom in face the screen cap?
No, it can't be, but it's beautiful.
Or is also from this episode, during Adrian's song, a random epic shot of Luka playing guitar in the background.
It should be that one.
I remember texting or messaging you about that, Dylan. I was like, why does Luka look possessed?
He does look possessed.
He looks epic to me. He has this light shining in his eyes. Or is it Luka with Marinette? Holding Luka with Ladybug, they're holding hands during that pivotal scene. Or is it Marinette almost being akumatized in Derision?
Ooh.
Which I didn't take you the screen cap yet, but what do we think?
I think it should be Luka playing the guitar.
Yep, Luka possessed.
He's not possessed. He's in the zone.
He does look possessed. I agree with April.
He looks possessed.
It's like when the camera makes your eyes look red, but for some reason his eyes are green
and glowing.
Yeah, they're like, let me look at this. They're like white. I feel like it's like from the stage light.
That's worse.
That's more possessed, honestly.
Yes.
Yeah. The Marinette says, "I need the moo," and runs out. And then to Alia, she says, "I'm just grabbing the cow to tell Adrian I love him because I have the love, but not the moo."
And then Kagami's like, they're speaking in code. I'm like, Kagami, you don't even want to know what they're talking about. Like,
yeah.
Right.
Oh, Delaney. Better vocal performance from Christina V. Marinette in the Moo, Marinette in Derision with all the past trauma, or Marinette as Tulin the bird child in Tears of the Kingdom.
Okay, the thing...
Not Marinette, Christina V. As.
Yeah, it's Christina V. The thing is, like, I'm like, so it's Tears of the Kingdom is so weird because, like, some parts you're like, why isn't this voiced? And then other parts you're like, why did they voice this part?
Yeah,
it's really weird. So I know you said you're like, Tulin just sounds like Marinette, but I think it doesn't sound quite like Marinette. Like, it's almost Marinette. I won't lie, I'm really attached to Tulin. I just finished that part in the game. Tulin's the best.
He's great. It's like Marinette, but like little like higher pitched and more boyish voice.
Yeah,
I feel like.
Aww.
It's adorable. Also, Tulin's like,
I love
the best.
I love Moo. I don't know how to do it.
Also, who knew Link and Marinette were best friends? Like, incredible.
Yeah, it's canon now. Adrian's just Link, by the way.
It's true, yeah.
Yeah.
Marinette's not Zelda, though, unfortunately.
No.
Mm-hmm. Not a princess.
Okay, there's our analysis. She's basically... Is Marinette a Disney princess? That's our next discussion.
Ooh,
here.
That's a good discussion. I like it.
Okay. What other things in this episode? We talked about Lila. We didn't talk that much about Giant Cloud Kagami, but we got the gist, I think.
Visually, it's really cool.
Yeah, I thought that was really nice.
They drew kanji for her. Everyone flips over the panels to show that I love Kagami drawing, and so then she
very sweet.
It was adorable.
Migration
could have all been mitigated if Marinette would have just answered her phone.
Right?
Yep, classic.
Classic Marinette.
The first joke in Migration we have not mentioned. It's a great joke. Marinette starts running in. Why is she running like that? She's not late. Creature of habit. Ha ha ha.
It was really funny. Why is she running? She's not late. It was so good.
Forgot about that.
Great Ladybug opening joke. Yeah. And then we probably hit it. Anything else? Anarka throwing Bob overboard.
Multiple times.
It was best part is when he's talking and he's putting on the floaty and everything.
Yes.
As in preparation. I know I should stop throwing people overboard, says Anarka.
No, keep doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Luka, yes. Yeah, the voyaging thing, the records into space is good. We talked about the rubber ducky.
It made me miss space dumpsters.
Rip.
Is that what you thought of?
Okay,
Are the
that's really good.
records?
He's like, yeah, he's like, Rubber Ducky's gonna be a star, and I was like, bro.
Yeah. Shouldn't he have voyaged the records that he deemed trash into the space dumpsters in space?
Yes, it was a missed opportunity for space dumpsters.
For the callback, right?
Yes.
It's always
Why
an
haven't
opportunity when they
Why haven't we checked it?
dumpsters.
I have a question. Did the space dumpsters not end up in space in the end of that episode, or were they still in space?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
I think we're failures for not remembering.
I think in our hearts they're still in space.
My thing is, like,
at least
for
they
this
should
show,
be.
we have been in space way more than like you would expect.
They could have seen the space dumpsters at any time when Cosmic Bug and
they just like run into them.
whatever.
Dylan's like space cat.
Space cat.
Catstronaut.
Cosmo Bug. Isn't that her name?
I think she's Cosmo Bug when she's in space.
Who knows?
Astro Cat.
Oh,
Okay.
that one's not as fun.
I had to Google it. Space Cat. What did you say?
I said Castronaut.
I like Castronaut better than Astro Cat.
They don't need names. It's dumb.
Yes.
They're still them. Like,
if she's captured, the only ones who can help her are Cat Noir and Ladybug. We reference this. He says that to Adrian, and he shoves Adrian into the closet.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Monarch. When they do the fake plan of Luka getting hit by the record, Monarch's like really excited that Luka gets turned in, but
he's
then
so high.
When
you think he'd be used to disappointment by now?
No, he's not, unfortunately.
That man is resilient, if anything.
I don't know if it's resilient or like extremely mentally ill, but
same thing.
There you go.
Or if you would just go to therapy, we wouldn't have this problem. But
yes.
That's true. Gabriel in therapy would be the ultimate. Like, just accept that your wife is gone, Gabriel. She's in my garden.
That's the thing. He's still in denial. He's not properly processing his grief.
Gabriel says, "How can I be in denial when she's in my garden? She's right there.
She's perfectly preserved."
She's literally not gone.
Or maybe okay. So what if Kagami isn't a Sentimonster, and what she was referring to was like she's gonna unplug
Emily, yeah.
Like she has made the tech.
Yeah. No one else could have made such an amazing.
She should have just said, "I'm gonna unplug your wife."
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. That would have been so good.
I'm shutting off your power, Gabriel. And your backup generators.
She just goes down there and she has her kendo stick and she just like breaks it. Just open.
Smashes the.
She just flips a switch that turns everything off.
There's just and Gabriel's like, "No, why not install that switch?" Yeah.
Yes.
Delaney, final thoughts on these episodes.
They were all really good. I do think the funniest thing ever was her busting in and was like almost took his head off. It was so good.
Is that ruined now that there's an alternate explanation to that scene?
No, it's still amazing. It doesn't matter. Like she literally kicks the door open and like shatters his screen. It's so good.
Luckily, he hasn't broken many iPads lately, so it was in the plan to replace it.
April, final thoughts.
These 3 episodes were honestly, they were fantastic, and like even though they were a lot, I like it. It's another like great example of what this show can do. So, I'm not excited about waiting a month, and that the next episode is when I'm out of town. But it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. Yeah, no, I agree. Good examples of a variety of great things the show's capable of. This is a great podcast. I think we hit on everything.
Thank you.
I know I was trying to trying to make sure we hit on all the stuff this time. So let us know if you appreciate that, etc. But it was also very long. Thank you for sticking in there, April and Delaney. What's the title? Are you sure these episodes are what we want to talk about? The problem is we didn't say that, or Luka farewell.
No, but we did say that.
What did we say?
Are you sure these episodes are what, or not? Are you sure these episodes are what we want to talk about? But we did reference that Luka said that a lot.
Yes.
I think my contributions are great.
Yeah, I don't know if Rip Chloe is representative, but Luka farewell tour. Something with Luka, yeah, it would be nice.
Yeah.
It would be nice. Something with Luka.
Dr.
Luka's text.
Gabriel's looking for Luka. I don't know.
Okay, we'll think about it. We'll see what the title is. But thank you guys for listening. Yeah, so Ladybug Disney US, June 17th, we'll be back. We're off for a month. Who knows? Maybe starting then they'll air the rest of the season. We'll have to find out. But yeah, we will be back maybe after 2 episodes or so. We'll see in July, I guess. We'll figure it out.
Depends on what this next episode is.
Yeah, maybe it's the reveal. Then we'll talk about it, hopefully. So there you go. Thank you for listening. If you could like this, consider supporting us on Patreon at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thanks to all of our current patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Reshipu, and thanks as always to our patron executive producers, Steve, Michael, and Phoenician. So let us know what you thought without getting into spoilers. We appreciate no spoiler comments of our discussion, and we'll see you when Lady Gug gets back. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye.
Bye.